Hello and welcome to the newspaper review here on TAF TV. This is where we get to analyze and look at trending and catchy headlines every day. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today, and if you could look around me, you could see that we are the streets of Port Harcourt like we've been doing for a while now. We get to discuss with people on the street, get to hear their reactions and thoughts as regarding the headlines making rounds on the papers. Well, you also can be a part of the show. Do well to subscribe, turn on your notification button, connect with us across all our social media platforms so that when we drop our videos like this, you get to receive our notifications. Well, before we get to discuss with people on the streets, let's look into the stories and see what the headlines look like. And first, we'll be looking at the Daily Sun newspaper today, being Monday, February 26th, 2024. We see as headline says, terrorism charges, IPOB leader Kanu returns to Abuja court. Details of this story is found on page 27. We could see at the main story here, it says, NASS considers conduct of all elections same day. Sub-stories under that reads, most radical changes to electoral laws to address confusion over electronic voting, transmission of results. Details of this story is found on page 6. Tinubu rallies Dangote, Elumelu, orders to stabilize economy. Sub-stories under that reads, sets up tripartite economy advisory committee. Details of this story is found on page 25 and 28. NLC alleges plots by government to disrupt nationwide protest. Sub-story under that reads, Afenifere asks Yorubas to shun it. Details is found on page 26. We will build on huge infrastructural legacy of ex-governor Bello, says Fanwo. Sub-story under that reads, as NG members tour Kogi projects. Details is found on page 6. Lagos plans additional 2,050 BRT buses to ease transportation. Details is found on page 28. Serap sues 36 governors, orders over alleged failure to account for 40 trillion naira local government allocations. Details is found on page 6. Peter Obi warns against clampdown on BDC operators. Details is found on page 2. Supreme Court gets full complement of 21 justices. This is found on page 27, and that's all be taken on the Daily Sun newspaper. And moving on, we'll be looking at the Punch newspaper. We could see as headline here, it says, Forex crisis threatens modular refineries, 25 billion naira daily crude input. Details of the story is found on page 21. 50th anniversary, Punch photo exhibits begins Wednesday. Details is found on page 9. Governors Elumelu, Dangote make Tinubu's economic advisory panel. Details is found on page 22. You can see at the main story here, it says, NLC protests, Presidency, police issue fresh warning as 65 groups pull out. Sub-stories under that reads, don't disrupt commercial activities, vehicular movements, Lagos CP tells protesters. Protest illegal, says Presidency. CSOs, NLC alleges government's plot to disrupt demonstration. Details of this story is found on page 2. Naira reaping the benefits of reforms. Details is found on page 4. And that 1 killed, 3 injured in fresh Delta court clashes. Details is found on page 5. Police probe man's death in Rivers Youth military cash. I take that again. It says police probe man's death in Rivers Youth military cash. Military clash. Details is found on page 5. Edo Labour Party crisis deepens as third governor. Edo Labour Party crisis deepens as third governor candidate emerges. Details is found on page 8, and that's all be taken on the Punch newspaper. And lastly for today, we'll be looking at the Daily Trust newspaper. We could see as headline here, it says, Qatar backtracks, hosts Nigerian Business Forum. Details is found on page 4. Nigerians, northern senators, welcome ECOWAS lifting of sanction. Details is found on page 4. Hardship, NLC mobilizes for protest despite federal government's warning. Details is found on page 6. Gaza truce talks resume in Doha. Details is found on page 4. Naira reaping the benefits of reform. Builders seek alternatives as cement price soars. Details is found on page 28, and that's all be taken on the Daily Trust newspaper. Now let's get to see the reactions of people on the streets. Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'd like your thoughts on the Punch newspaper that says Nigerian Labour Congress protest. Presidency, police issue fresh warning as 65 groups pulls out.
First of all, police, they don't have to issue any fresh money to any organized group now, because Nigeria has reached the height of poverty, the height of suffering. And as far as I'm concerned, NLC themselves, they are not supposed to embark on any protest. Rather, they should embark on indefinite strike until government do something to alleviate the suffering of the people. We are buying a bag of cement, nearly 15,000 naira now. We are buying 1 quarter of rice, 6,500 now. We are buying gari, 2,200 now. As against for a paint of rubber that is used to be about 500, 600, higher 700 naira. So for me, I don't think anything else is even serious, because they are just like a dog that can bark but cannot bite. They are not supposed to be issuing any protest warning to government now. Rather, for me, they should embark on an indefinite strike until government do something. Because Tinubu himself, as the president of the country, is supposed to look into the plight of Nigerians. If by the way you remove the subsidy that time, you did not put in place measures to alleviate our suffering. But according to your broadcast, after the removal of the subsidy, you said you are going to bring in palliative, you are going to buy CNG buses. None of those promises have been met up till now. So for me, I think that the president, if it is possible, to put the subsidy back. If we cannot move forward, let us remain where we were about 2 years or a year ago. Let us maintain the status quo. Because that at now, no Nigerian will say that he is happy. No Nigerian will say that he is enjoying now. Transportation, where we need to a journey of maybe 200 naira before now, it's 500 naira. So we are really suffering because of living has spiraled more than 50% increase in the price of things. So I think as a president of a country or as a governor of a state, if the people are crying, they are crying, you're supposed to look and think back. Don't just remain adamant that things will be better. Things will be better. Okay, last year now they said things will be better. See this year now. They were talking that when we enter 2024, things will be better. Look at January, February now. We are in February now. We are moving towards ending of February now. The price of things keep on going on. If you buy something last week now, 200 naira. Next week we are going to buy 250 or 300. This is a hyperinflation, not even galloping inflation. Because galloping inflation, the price will go up and come down. The price will go up and come down. But now, this one is hyperinflation. It continues to increase. They say 1,700 naira to $1. During Buhari, it was oscillating between 700 naira, 800, and highest maybe 900 naira that time. So for me, NLC supposed to be our savior now, but embarking on indefinite strike. Let everybody stay at home so that the government will know that this is a serious matter. People are dying of hunger. You cannot eat a plate of food, you set 100 in some places. Not that you are going to eat to your satisfaction, just to manage yourself. For something to be in your tummy. Where you have 3 children, 5 children, how do we cope in a situation like this? We are in Port Harcourt. How do we cope for transportation? So now, most people now, they wake up very early in the morning and cover 50% of the journey before they can take a transportation fare because there's no money. So yeah, so that is my own. For me, the country now, I would say that it's in a total mess. Economically, government should do something now and stop promising us. They should stop promising us. Let us see the impact of their promises. Let them do something now so that all these things will come down. Life will become meaningful for people.
Now, do you think if the Labour Congress goes on strike, do you think the government will heed to the strike and maybe make impact on the economy?
If Nigerian Labour I believe that NLC is a compromise body because
you think they are jeopardized now?
They are jeopardized now because they should go right away on strike, not protest. Which protest? So even if they protest now, government will still give them promises that they should not worry, things will come down and they will do this, they will do that. They should just embark on indefinite strike so that government will know they are serious. And during the time of Oshiomhole, his yes was yes that time. They will go on strike and they will go indefinitely until government hacking to their demand. So that is what I want the current NLC to do now. They should go on that indefinite strike, not protest. And when they are going on that side, they say that okay, until government do something before they can call off or suspend the strike.
Right. Thank you very much. Hello. Good morning. Morning. I'd like your thoughts on the Punch that says NLC protest, Presidency, police issue fresh warning as 65 groups pull out.
They should abide by it because of the present situation in the country. Okay. That's my advice. They should abide by it because of the present situation of the country. Protesting strike is not necessary for now.
But do you think there is hope, like for Nigeria?
Yes.
At the moment.
Yes.
Okay, there is hope for Nigeria. You know, a few of us in this country still believe that Nigeria would have, and there are times when other countries have faced such economic crisis, and they still survive the but
Japan did it.
Exactly.
And they survived it. Because you know how much was dollar in Japan? But they restructured the economy. The thing is restructured. It's not one man business. You cannot stay in your house and start saying that this person is doing. No, this is not time for that. Now it's time for everybody to sit up and follow up the situation. Know what to do at the right time.
But seeing how the government is, do you think they are making a good plan that will help the nation?
But they have been saying it now. Are they sleeping?
There's a difference between saying something and actually doing
They
it.
are not happy now. That is why every time they are trying to make sure. Are they not the one that said they want to share rice?